to Rocky's recap. They're going to go over week 5 in the NFL, what we learned from each game. So starting from the top, first of all, it was a crazy week 5. They had big fellas doing pick sixes. We had like 3 of those, more close games and overtime games, more record-breaking performances. The Chiefs and the Steelers defense finally decided to show up and do something. So definitely some good looks and interesting things to take from each game. So we'll start from the top with Thursday Night Football. Patriots versus Colts. So Tom Brady, basically just looking vintage Tom Brady. Went out there, he set his record for his 500th touchdown pass, which he connected with Flash Gordon. So that was nice to see. Good grab by him. Also, the MVP of New England defense definitely has to go to the stunting pass rushers because they shut it down. Luck was pressured all game, especially with no running game threat. It was like even more so the only option, so it was predictable. Their secondary was rewarded with drops and actually allowed the Colts to top their offense in overall yardage, ironically. But the front pressure was insane. So Luck is in desperate need of like a wide receiver to step up or something because nobody's really dependable or reliable in that department. They did do, Ebron had a good game, but it's just no telling if somebody will have one. Nobody's really like come out and pronounced themselves as the one, and I think they need to do that going forward. As far as the Colts defense, they were definitely missing rookie linebacker Darius Leonard. That's been having an amazing breakout year as a rookie. He was out on injury, so yeah, definitely missed his presence in this game. I think it would have made a huge difference. It would have been a more fair game to watch. Steelers versus Falcons next game. The Steelers have had enough of people talking crap. They're like, nothing is wrong with us. We are just fine. And if you forgot, let me remind you. So they just had a great show out all across the board. Offense, offensive line, defense showed up. AB over here getting his first 2 touchdowns of the season. Juju, nice grabs. Connor going off. They were just clicking on all cylinders. Great display. They definitely are showing that they're tired of everybody saying they miss Bell or something like that. At least Connor is. He had a great day, patient, decisive, nice cuts, making people miss tackles. Their run game is really what carried them to this victory. It was very entertaining to watch, and we'll get a clip of that later in the highlights. The Wi-Fi was definitely lit, and the connection was definitely strong between AB and Big Ben. They're tired of hearing about that, too. Nothing is wrong with that. Matt Ryan just honestly failed to meet the challenge of a struggling secondary because Pittsburgh's secondary, isn't necessarily that great. Like, Hayden did a good job this game, but, they're pretty shaky. So you would think that Matt Ryan could have, peeled them apart, but they didn't. He had really struggled even in close range. So the line was also horrible. I think Matt Ryan got sacked 6 times. We did see a nice spark of a return of Desmond Trufant. He had a great game in coverage. Especially coming off a game where he struggled in Cincinnati. So that was good to see. The bottom line is Beasley, McKinley, people like that, they're just an upset. And as far as expectations go at this point, they need to step up with all these injuries. Somebody's got to step up. So here's a clip of how nice and clicking all the cylinders were in the Steelers versus Atlanta game. Check it out.
Connor dives over, and there's your Steeler touchdown. On 3rd and 8. For the end zone. Open. Catch made. Roethlisberger. End zone. Touchdown Steelers. Antonio Brown. Ben and Brown connect.
What a showing. I thought they deserved a nice little clip because it was a great display on offense for sure. Next game, a nice look for offenses as well, is Seahawks versus Rams. Very exciting game. There were 5 lead changes, back and forth, impressive match. Great showing for Seattle because, thus far they've definitely been struggling and not playing to their best potential, and they looked really good in this showcase. They've established, obviously, a good run game with Carson and the option of Mike Davis. And just great pass protection this game, which was obviously struggling in the first, few games of this year. Great touchdown catch to Tyler Lockett. David Moore, his first career touchdown, and he actually ended up with 2 for the game, so shout out to him. And then you have the other side of the game where, Kupp and Cooks go out, and you have Robert Woods just show up like it's no big deal and take over. And then Gurley doesn't even necessarily have one of his best games, but he still ends up with 3 rushing touchdowns. Like, very impressive performance, even on a day where Goff didn't necessarily go crazy like we're used to seeing. So he still finished strong, and that's what matters, and he got his team to still win. Aaron Donald's still doing his thing dominantly on defense. I mean, he's performing at a level that people wish they could, honestly. He's very impressive. My opinion, Marcus Peters definitely got exposed going into this game as well. He's getting burnt, and like every throw is going his way, and it's for a reason. Russell will definitely attack that. Something's got to give with him for sure. Gutsy call by the Rams to go for it on 4th and 1 right there at the end of the game, because they didn't want to give it to Seattle and give them time to come back and win. So they basically gambled to secure the win, and it worked out in their favor. So shout out to them, top to bottom, coaching staff, on strategizing on that game. And also, like, Seattle, we see you, like, keep it up. Next game, Chiefs versus Jaguars, much anticipated game with the matchup of Hill and Ramsey talking, back and forth all week. For the most part, I think Ramsey, of course, did a great job in coverage, as Mahomes didn't even have a great game or any real target, and definitely wasn't in Hill. So, but it was cute to see, them like running alongside each other the whole game, because, I don't think Ramsey can say that he's not a receiver anymore. Let's just say it like that. I think you put him through a nice workout, So that was fun to watch. Mahomes, he had pretty much the worst game of his career so far, with no passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And honestly, what showed up for this game that was critical was Kansas City defense out of nowhere. So they showed up unexpectedly. They had been absent for sure. They had 4 interceptions. 3 times they stopped the Jags on a scoring drive that got inside like the 5-yard line. Like, that's huge. Great defense on their side. Jaguars defense, of course, giving Mahomes a lot of pressure. Probably the best pressure he's faced this year, which is why we saw what we saw, because they also had good coverage downfield. You got Ramsey, Bowie. So great showing and great perseverance by Kansas City to still come out with that win. So next game, we go from perseverance to frustration, because I don't know what else to say when I think of the Giants. How about Panthers versus Giants? The Giants are definitely struggling. I'm pretty sure everybody within that organization is very frustrated for individual reasons, for just in general, team frustration. So anyways, Panthers versus Giants. The Giants defense and the O-line are definitely struggling big time. There's questions about Eli and whether, it's officially over for him. But there was other things that that happened that weren't around those things either. There was huge mistakes on special teams with Odell Beckham and Janoris Jenkins touching the ball on the punt, and then it got into the end zone, stuff like that. So it's key mistakes. Frustration, I think, plays a big factor into this as well. But it was a real entertaining game nonetheless with the loss. Odell Beckham's tired of not getting things down the field, so he decided to take matters into his own hands, literally, per usual, and not catching it, but actually throwing it. What an impressive touchdown throw to Saquon Barkley, the longest gain of the season this far for the Giants. So that was real entertaining to watch, as well as him. He got his first receiving touchdown of the year and ended up having some other nice grabs. He had a nice one-handed grab doing his thing. So Saquon and Odell definitely still standing out and doing what they can with the situation that's given to them, the best that they can, in my opinion. I honestly feel that. Barkley continues to impress us with his running, and he's just so fluid and shifty and makes people miss. It's really entertaining to watch. But you got to give credit to Carolina's defense. Mike Adams with 2 interceptions along with 6 tackles. Peppers was very impressive, keeping Barkley kind of in check. I don't want to say fully in check, but like it could have been worse had they not had somebody, stopping him and keeping him kind of, like I said, in check. DJ Moore, the rookie, had a really nice running grab, and Cam Newton on the blocking on that play was really cool to watch. He straight leveled him. The Panthers spread the ball a lot. It was really good stuff. We saw Christian McCaffrey doing his thing. How about the receiving touchdown by Curtis Samuel? Talk about yak. I think the initial throw and catch was like maybe 4 yards, and Samuel just like goes off, spinning off people, making people miss, looking like a cheat code. Honestly, that was a great one. We'll see that later in the highlights for sure. And then the Panthers with the last second field goal to come out with the win in regulation with a 63-yarder. On to the next game, Bills versus Titans. So basically it seemed like the Bills' strategy and game plan was centered around keeping it kind of simple Sam and vanilla for Josh Allen, who's not been super consistent. So they committed to the run early and stuck with the run. It was somewhat effective to the point of he tried his best, but they still managed to win. I don't know. Basically, it forced him to not have to make dumb decisions. He still used his feet and showed he's athletic there with his rushing touchdown. And it worked out. The Bills' defense is really what showed up super big with Milano and Alexander and the linebackers being all over the field. Tre'Davious White, LSU, is starting to get recognized finally for, opposing forces to... They're basically starting to avoid him. He was targeted just one time against Tennessee, and that ball fell incomplete. So Tre'Davious White, sometimes the stats on paper mean better things. You know what I mean? Like, somebody can have, 10 tackles, this, that, and the third. But, like, if nobody's coming your way and there's nothing on paper on, like, the box score, you still did your thing. And so you're still being accounted for, and we see you. So, anyways, as far as Mariota, he struggled horribly. He could not get into rhythm. He was forcing passes into tight windows. He had one interception and a couple of others that were very close to interceptions for sure. I think what sticks out the most of this game, and will do for a few people for a while, especially Nick Williams with the missed touchdown catch. How do you do that? If I had a come on man segment of this show, he would definitely be on that. Like, how do you miss that touchdown? Like, that's the game right there. Like, right in your butter basket. Like, grab that shit. So, anyways, who also stuck out to me was Jeriel Casey on defense. He stopped the run game, completely dominated in the run defense. They had no answer for Jeriel Casey on defense, and they still committed to the run. And really, it was just by poor decision-making on Tennessee's part that they didn't come out with the win. Adoree Jackson with the interception. He wasn't targeted often. Solid start to his second season, looking really good for him. Next game, Texans versus Cowboys. What a thriller in overtime. Both defenses, I think, showed up really big in this game. For Dallas, leading that off was Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith, the goal line stances, where they only really got one touchdown and 5 end zone trips. That's pretty impressive. Texans defense also showed up. They stopped the run. They pressured Dak often. They had 2 interceptions. K-Jack almost had 2 himself. Justin Reed, the rookie, with his first, looking good out. How about Dak Prescott's scrambling throw to Austin? That was very impressive. We're definitely going to see that in the highlight reel. He did a lot of scrambling in that game, and that's really what kept him in that game, to be honest, is his ability to still, like, get out of the pocket. But it just wasn't enough. And Deshaun Watson was very efficient this game. D. Hopkins, unstoppable. Amazing touchdown catch. He even fumbled at one point, but nobody's really caring or even thinking about that. Probably forgot about it. You saw his nice spinning catch and run in overtime to set up the game-winning field goal. He was 9 receptions, 151 yards, back-to-back wins in the first time in overtime since 2012 for the Texans. They're looking good for sure. But how about the Eagles? Next game, Vikings versus Eagles. This is the last year's NFC Championship rematch, but with different quarterbacks. You had Nick Foles last year. We got Wentz now, and now we have Cousins for the Vikings. So different but the same in a sense. But really, though, like, my main question with this game is, like, what's going on with the Eagles? Like, they're just not looking like themselves. Definitely not looking like a championship team. There was lots of pressure allowed. There's no protection on offense. There was critical drop balls in offense. They're just not creating turnovers, and they're turning it over. It's just not looking good. Their defense isn't living up to their potential talent. We all know how good they can be. Besides the upfront pressures, the line up front's doing good still. But and Wentz, I feel like, just isn't all the way shaken back to his normal self. So I don't know what's going on there. But Minnesota defense definitely finally woke up and showed up. Linval Joseph with this huge sack, hurry, run stop, huge fumble return for a 64-yard touchdown. He celebrated with his oxygen and his sunglasses, looking fly on the sideline. Let him do his thing. He deserved it. Kirk Cousins did pretty good for being lights out under pressure. I mean, he was 30 of 37 with 301 yards. Thielen's still a beast, looking great out there. He's the first player to eclipse 100 yards in the first 5 games of a season. So very impressive for him. He had 7 receptions, 116 yards this game. Diggs was right behind him with 10 receptions, 91 yards. And honestly, it just hardly seemed to matter that Dalvin Cook was even out. We forgot about him because they still managed to get that win. So next game, Lions versus Packers. Huge special team hiccups. Crosby single-handedly lost this game for the Packers, and it's so unlike him. He missed 4 field goals and an extra point. That hasn't happened since 1980. How about the muffed catch on punt return caused by the Lions to get the ball right back on the 1? And Rodgers, 442 yards, 3 touchdowns, which is his second highest career yard game, didn't even matter because he also contributed to their loss with 2 fumbles. Devontae Adams looking great, though, with 9 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown. As far as the Lions are concerned, Galladay is who stuck out to me the most this game with long catches, and a long touchdown catch was really nice where he stiff-armed Diggs. There were some great sacks, fumbles, forced fumbles, and recovery for the Lions defense. The hand guy really stuck out to me in that department. Just looking great over there, enough to get the job done and upset the Packers. Next game, Jets versus Broncos. Who would have thought? All I can say is Isaiah Crowell is a beast. Unstoppable. 219 yards, franchise record, personal best record. Nobody was stopping him, clearly. He had 323 total yards on ground against a good defense in the Broncos, who usually have a good run defense. Darnold to Anderson was great to see. Nice pass and nice catches going along there. Longest passing touchdown for the Jets in 20 years on his touchdown pass to Anderson. There was a 512 total offensive yards. Huge display. Tyler Pryor even got a nice touchdown catch. They were just clicking on all cylinders on the offense. The Jets defense even sacked Keenum 4 times. Morris Claiborne doing great in the secondary. He was accounted for pass breakups and made plays when the Jets needed him. Just a great offensive, defensive, well-rounded game for the Jets, and they deserve that win for sure. Next game, Browns versus Ravens, another overtime thriller. Man, the Browns are just like, that's their thing this year. But this time, luckily, they were able to come out with the last-second field goal win that barely cleared the crossbar for that matter. This is their first AFC North win in the last 19 games. This was the Browns' 3rd overtime game in the past 5 weeks. Mayfield did a good job, composure. He threw for 342 yards, a 19-yard touchdown pass. He was sacked 5 times. Like I said, he did well for being under pressure, and he did have 1 interception, but he still managed to pull it together. Jarvis Landry, congrats to him. LSU, he got his 427th reception. He's the first in the NFL most with receiving yards in the first 5 years. How about Denzel Ward on defense? He continues each week to shine. I mean, I am like really impressed with him. Like, I feel like he's made my like top athletic plays every week, which we'll get to later. And again, he has one there this week. He continues to impress us with his rookie season. He blocked a field goal, and then he had an interception in the end zone. Like, he's just doing his thing every game. You're going to feel him for sure. Honestly, though, safety Jabril Peppers was noticeable on defense as well. He was flying around, making plays on defense. He was disruptive against the run, blowing up a block on a stretch run to the outside, which connected to a significant loss that play. He forced incompletions down the field. He laid a big hit in the end zone. He tipped that ball that had a chance to honestly be caught. I mean, he was just all over the place. The Browns was really interesting about how they won is they actually could have won the game. They missed a field goal to win it in regulation, and it still went into overtime, and they ended up winning it with a very close kick. So, very close game. Interesting to see them come out with the win. I'm happy for the Browns. I think they're turning a leaf here. I think they're tired of having it get to the wire like that. At least they come out with the victory in this one. As far as Flacco is concerned, horrible performance. Crabtree dropped balls left and right in the end zone. Their defense sacked Baker 5 times, though, and pressured him a lot. So, I mean, they showed up per usual, but it doesn't matter when you don't have an offense doing anything for you to get points on the board, unless you're just going to get all defensive touchdowns, that's just not realistic. But there were a lot of those this week, and we'll continue to see those. Next game, Chargers versus Raiders. Raiders just having another week of a lot of turnovers. Martavius Bryant with the fumble. Carr didn't give it to Lynch on the 1-yard line like he said he never would do. Lynch was not happy with him. When are they going to learn? When are teams going to learn? When you have the ball on the 1 with Lynch, you know what to do. You know why I'm here, boys, right? Vintage Rivers was on display. He did a great job. Allen and Gordon combined with 210 yards on offense. Eckler with a very impressive running touchdown. Melvin Ingram on defense, and just in general defense for sure for the Chargers showing up. Melvin Ingram had a great game on defense with an interception in the end zone. And the defense was just disruptive the whole game. Kudos to them. They looked good offensively and defensively. Next game, Cardinals versus 49ers. Rosen to Kirk was pretty much the nicest thing we saw. Rookie to rookie was a nice look, but the Cardinals' offensive line is just absolutely the worst. Poor Rosen, I don't know what he's going to do over there. The Cardinals' defense did show up, however. Chandler Jones stood out to me the most. Hassan Reddick, 3 fumble recoveries as a whole, 2 interceptions. Patrick Peterson with a recovery and a 49-yard return looking nice. LSU. The 49ers defensive front was just very strong and definitely pressured Rosen often, so kudos to them on that. There was just a lot of dropped balls by receivers on offense for the 49ers, and the rushing attack just wasn't enough to get the job done with Brietta going out on entry. There was just too many turnovers, period. Just costly for them. Cardinals finally getting their first win, so congratulations to them. Next game, Bengals versus Miami. So the Dolphins blew a 17-3 lead, and Tannehill is still struggling. I don't know what to make of this. Even with the offensive woes, Kenyon Drake did show out and have a good game. On defense, Alonzo and Rashad Jones did really well. Alonzo with another interception this game. Special teams-wise, of course, Jakeem Grant always doing his thing with an amazing punt return for a touchdown. That was looking awesome. We'll definitely see that in the highlight reel. He's just so speedy. He's fun to watch for sure. Cincinnati, they struggled to score early, but then they moved the ball well enough to at least, keep their defense off the field and be able to make those critical stops that they ended up making, and pressuring, all that good stuff. They basically just stuck with their consistent AJ Green, right? So he moved the ball. He didn't get any touchdowns, but he moved the ball well and converted on a lot of big plays. Joe Mixon back from injury with his receiving touchdown looked nice. On defense, though, Carlos Dunlap with a strip sack fumble, and it was scooped up by the big fella, looking good out there on defense. Atkins, Carl Lawson, Carlos Dunlap, all looking great. Very strong performance by them for sure. The Saints versus Redskins. Let's get straight to it. Monday Night Football, my favorite part. What a game, guys. I'm just not biased. You can't tell me you didn't watch that game and get teared up when Drew Brees broke that record, or just, enjoy watching the Saints, period. I understand, because you just never know what you're going to get. Our defense finally showed up. Offense obviously clicking on all cylinders. Very impressive showing on both sides of the ball for them. The Redskins just basically at the end of the day gave up way too many big plays and had silly penalties that really cost them. Offensively, they were shut down by a surprising good Saints defense. There was no rushing game, no touchdown passes by Smith. He was pressured often, sacked 3 times, interception by a replacement of, by the way, Marshawn Lattimore, Defensive Player of the Year last year. Coming in, Justin Hardy getting an interception, looking good, almost got a pick 6, but he just, fell quite short. There was a forced fumble. One of them was by Davenport, our first round draft pick, so that was looking good. People were showing up. Of course, Cameron Jordan, Davenport, and Rankins just super disruptive in the pass rush and pressures, just very aggressive. But again, like I said, shout out to the first career interception for Justin Hardy coming in for somebody like Marshawn Lattimore, who's an impressive player within himself, and coming in and showing up and answering that call. It was a very impressive showing, and I would like to see him get rotated going forward since we have some other positions that aren't as consistent. Might as well let the young guy eat. Drew Brees, let's get to the main man of the show. He's the biggest underrated silent GOAT there ever could be. Big congrats to him. He now leads the league in almost every category with his record-setting performance in which he surpassed Manning's record for the all-time leader in passing yards and a huge wide-open touchdown pass to the rookie, Traquan Smith. We'll definitely see some highlights of that here just in a second. You talk about efficient. Drew Brees was 26-29, 363 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And like I said, shout out to Traquan Smith. As a rookie, he had his first career touchdown, ended up with 2, and he was a part of making history. Mark Ingram even coming back from suspension had 2 touchdowns. It was just a beautiful win. If the Saints defense can continue this, like, I am just like super excited to see where we're going to go, because honestly, I think it's to the end. We were supposed to be in the Super Bowl last year. But anyways, here's a closer clip at the special moment of Drew Brees breaking the record.
Brees open, wide open, and Smith, what a way to do it! There's only one word that comes to mind. Greatness. Right there, right now, that moment. There is the ball. And that ball is going to be headed to Canton, Ohio. A 62-yard touchdown pass is the way that Drew Brees fittingly goes into the record book. The white gloves are on the Hall of Fame president, David Baker. His wife, Brittany, as he receives hugs from Balin, Bowen, and his beautiful daughter, Rylan. Soak it in, Drew. Well earned. And to think that he does it here at home on a Monday night. In front of these fans and in this city, where when he first came here, they desperately needed a hero. And he needed to be one. He has told the story time and again of he needed somebody to believe in him. Tears in the Crescent City. That's how much this man means to these people.
You can't tell me you don't watch that and get teared up. And if you hear his post-game interviews, they ask him, what'd you tell your sons? And he said something along the lines of, oh, you're talking about what I tell them every night? And that's that you can be anything you put your mind to, like something to that effect. Like, as long as you work hard for it. That's just so beautiful, guys. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm crying on a Monday night. So that wraps up week 5 in game analysis, what we took from each game and what we learned about different teams and players specifically. But let's get into the best individual performances in week 5. Starting at the top with quarterback, like we just mentioned, Drew Brees. He is now the only quarterback with no interceptions and going through week 5. As we now know, Mahomes is fallen victim to the interceptions. He definitely set a record, like as we know, in lead and passing yards. He just had a great performance and very special moment. Russell Wilson also looked good, 13 of 21 for 198 yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, which he looked good because, you know, that line was not holding up as of recently. So that's good. Big Ben looked good, 19 of 29, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and not sacked. Very impressive. Big Phillip Rivers also had a good game, 22 of 27, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Deshaun Watson looking good, 33 of 44, 375 yards. He also had 10 carries for 40 yards on rushing, and he had a touchdown. Kirk Cousins was 30 of 37, 301 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interception. Receiver position, we definitely have DeAndre Hopkins in there right at the top. He was 9 of 151 yards, crazy yards after contact, great spin moves, just looking amazing out there. I also have rookie Traquan Smith for the Saints. He had 3 receptions, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, great rookie breakout performance, and he got to be a part of history, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, Galladay with the Lions, 4 receptions, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, good grabs, and nice yards after contact as well with him. Robbie Anderson, 3 receptions for 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's just like a speedster. I like seeing them with that connection. Odell Beckham Jr. with a great week. Finally, he had 8 receptions, 131 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and 1 throwing touchdown. Let's not forget, it was the longest game for the Giants of the season, so he had a great game. Antonio Brown, by the way, he got his first touchdown this week, along with Antonio Brown getting his first touchdown this week, with 6 receptions, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns actually for him, and some clutch catches in tight windows, per usual Antonio Brown. Adam Thielen still doing his thing. He's the first player ever to start a season with 100-plus yards in the first 5 games. He was 7 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown this game. AJ Green, just being him, always clutch, big first down conversions, 6 receptions, 112 yards for him. Devontae Adams with the Packers, 9 receptions, 140 yards and a touchdown. And Lockett, 3 receptions, 98 yards, a touchdown, and some nice long grabs. At running back position, I have Isaiah Crowell, definitely way in a league of his own this week. He had 15 carries, 219 yards, 231 total yards, long breaks, hard running, looking like a savage out there. Choo-choo train for sure. Todd Gurley still had a great game, regardless of it not being one of his best. He was 22 carries for 77 on rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns, and he had 4 receptions for 36 yards. Total of 113 yards on the day. Carson looking good, 19 carries, 116 yards, 1 touchdown, 127 total yards. Saquon Barkley out there still running and looking nice. 3rd rookie in history to record 100-plus yards from scrimmage in the first 5 games of the season. He was 15 carries for 48 yards on rushing and 4 receptions for 81 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. He had a total of 129 yards on the game. James Conner going off, running mad as well. 21 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 4 receptions for 75 yards, a total of 185 yards from scrimmage. Melvin Gordon still doing his thing as well with the dual threat, 20 carries and 46 yards, 8 receptions, 73 yards, 119 yards total for him. Alfred Blue did pretty good also with 20 of 46 for rushing yards and 8 receptions for 73 yards and 119 yards total. Mixon coming off injury, doing well still, 22 carries, 93 yards, and 3 receptions for 22 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown, 115 total yards for the game. Kenyon Drake, even with a loss, looked good, 6 carries for 46 rushing yards, 7 receptions for 69 yards, and a touchdown, 115 total yards from scrimmage for the day. At defensive back, we definitely have Denzel Ward at the top, continuously showing us how good he is each weekend, and he had an interception in the end zone this game and a blocked field goal. So huge day for him. Like we spoke about Tre'Davious White earlier, he's only targeted once this game and it fell incomplete, so that's very impressive. Sometimes the stats on paper that they show don't say enough about the game, and certain players don't get acknowledged like that. You're not even being targeted, so how can you have a bunch of stops on pass deflection, etc., when they're not even coming your way? Another impressive DB was Mike Adams for Carolina Panthers with 2 interceptions, 6 tackles. Adoree Jackson was great in coverage. He had 4 tackles, 1 interception, now his 2nd of the season. Morris Claiborne did fantastic in the secondary, accounting for several pass breakups. He made plays when the Jets definitely needed him. Justin Reed, the rookie, great rookie debut for him, 6 tackles, 1 interception. Kareem Jackson, 5 tackles, 1 for a loss, 1 interception, and almost 2. Deshaun Gibson, he was only targeted twice. He allowed 0 receptions, and he had a pass breakup and an interception. So that was very impressive for him. Desmond Trufant finally coming back into his form. Even with the loss, he was great in coverage. He was targeted only 4 times, and he didn't allow 1 single reception, and he forced 2 incompletions with pass breakups. At tackle and defensive end on the edge, Linval Joseph, 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 for a loss, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 pick six. Big fella. That's the one who unwinded with his oxygen and sunglasses. Hilarious. We'll see that in here in a second. Chris Jones, another big fellow with a pick 6 and a sack. Jarrell Casey, he was dominating at stopping the run on defense. Carlos Dunlap, another big fella, strip sacking that led to a scoop score touchdown. Chandler Jones, he had 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, a hurry, 1 forced fumble, batted pass, 6 total defensive stops. At linebacker, we got TJ Watt, 8 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 5 quarterback hits. Melvin Ingram, 7 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 end zone touch interception. Milano all over the field, 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. He was just everywhere. Jalen Smith, same thing, all over the place, 12 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 quarterback hits. Vander Esk was amazing with his 14 tackles, definitely showing his presence on the field. On special teams, we have Jakeem Grant with the punt return touchdown. We'll definitely see a clip of that here in a second, as well as Denzel Ward on special teams with his blocked field goal. We'll definitely see a clip of that as well. Best teams offensively, we're definitely going to have to go with the Saints, Jets, and Seattle, and the Steelers this week. The Saints, like we said, 461 total yards, 363 in the air, 98 on the ground, record-setting game, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Jets had 521 total yards offense, 323 on the ground, 198 on the air, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Seattle had 388 total yards, 198 rushing, 190 in the air, so very balanced, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And the Steelers, Big Ben, AB, Connor, Juju, they're all showing up and got a huge win. Best teams defensively, I feel like a lot of defenses actually showed up this week. The Chiefs definitely at the top of the list because they were very unexpected. They were led by Hitchens with 11 tackles. They had 1 forced fumble recovery, 5 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 12 quarterback hits, 11 pass deflections, and 4 interceptions. Okay, that's very impressive. Also unexpectedly showing up is the Saints defense. 1 forced fumble with a recovery, 1 long interception by a backup, and Justin Hardy. Pressures all over the place from Jordans, Rankins, and Davenport. 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 8 tackles for a loss, 6 pass deflections. The Bills showing up, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 interception, 2 sacks, 5 pass deflections, 5 quarterback hits, and Milano was all over the place with his 10 tackles. The Texans, led by Cunningham, McKinney, and Matthew, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, 7 pass deflections, 6 quarterback hits, and 2 interceptions, almost 3. The Chargers defense, led by Melvin Ingram, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Looking good out there for sure. Steelers defense finally showing up, 6 sacks, 1 forced fumble recovery, 11 tackles for a loss, 13 quarterback hits. TJ Watt, Edmonds leading the team with Fort as well, looking good out there. The Cardinals defense showed up, 3 fumbles and forced fumble recoveries, led by Baker, Bethea, Bynes, Patrick Peterson, Jones. They all looked good. There was 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 14 tackles for a loss, 9 pass deflections, and 8 quarterback hits. Wow. Jets defense looking good, 4 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, 8 tackles for a loss, Williamson and Claiborne, and May with his 104-yard interception return. Ravens defense still looking good despite the loss with 5 sacks, 1 interception, 11 tackles for a loss, 7 pass deflections, 8 quarterback hits. This team was led by Jefferson and Mosley. The Cleveland Browns defense also looking good with a fumble recovery, blocked field goal, 1 interception, 2 sacks, 11 pass deflections, 8 quarterback hits, led by Collins, Kirksey, and Schobert. Dallas, led by Vander Esk, Jalen Smith, and Jones. Heath as well, looking well out there. They were all in double digits with tackles, 1 sack, 6 tackles for a loss, 5 pass deflections, 10 quarterback hits, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. Looking really good. Lots of defenses definitely came out to play. The best rookie performances this week, I have Rosen to Kirk, rookie to rookie, both a good look, good play. Saquon Barkley continuing to look great. Denzel Ward continuing to look great. TJ Watt continuing to look great. DJ Moore stepping out with his 2 touchdowns. Justin Reed, the rookie, getting his first interception, and Traquan Smith getting his first career touchdown, and also 2 for the game. So very impressive. He also got to be a part of the Saints record-setting history. So most athletic plays for the week. We'll get to those highlights, and it'll be followed by some nice video footage. Will be all the big fella plays for sure. The Chris Jones interception, pick 6, the Vendell Joseph pick 6. We got Adam Thalen's touchdown catch, Isaiah Crowell. We got a clip of him just going off. He did an amazing job, very entertaining. Gurley's 3 rushing touchdowns, Carson's hard running, yards after contact, looking great. Galladay catch with a stiff arm on Diggs. Marvin Jones had a nice, impressive touchdown catch. We got Drew Brees' record-setting touchdown throw, of course. Odell Beckham to Barkley for the touchdown. D. Hopkins catches and his spin move. Jakeem Grant's punt return for a touchdown, very impressive. Speedster Melvin Ingram's interception in the end zone. We got DJ Moore's nice run with the Cam Newton block on the play. We got Eckler's running touchdown, very impressive. Saquon Barkley with his smooth running. James Conner's impressive running and leaping touchdown. Definitely got some nice footage on James Conner. He went off. We got Juju's touchdown catch, looked nice. We got Antonio Brown's touchdown catches. OBJ's one-handed grab and his touchdown catch. We got Carlos Dunlap's strip sack with Sam Hubbard on the scoop score. We got blocked field goal by Denzel Ward. Terrell Pryor's touchdown catch was very impressive. Darnold to Anderson connection was nice. Justin Reed's diving interception. Mike Adams' red zone interception. Justin Hardy, the backup, with interception in his return. Curtis Samuel with an amazing cheat code run. And we got Dak scrambling run and pass to Austin. We got Tom Brady to Josh Gordon for the 500th touchdown pass. We got Gano's 63-yard field goal to win the game. Robert Woods' performance, very impressive. Russell to Lockett's touchdown pass was very impressive. And Reddick's strip and bind, scoop, and score. Here's a closer look at all the highlights in Week 5.
He's intercepted, and it's going to be a pick six for Chris Jones. Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Joseph, can he win this long foot race? Linval Joseph, no flags, touchdown Minnesota. Philadelphia Eagle fans, how about the sunglasses with to go along? Second down and 2 as it took a sack off the board. Now Thielen in the end zone.
Honored to do that. Second and 10, Crowell. Isaiah Crowell. 8.5 to go in the first. Denver leads it 7-0. Crowell, the redirect. Trying to get to the outside. Crowell to the 45. And he got wiped out by Harris. Isaiah Crowell to the backfield. Crowell has room. Nice cut by Crowell. Crowell chewing up yards down the sideline. Isaiah Crowell could go. Touchdown, Jets.
Job of coming all the way around to the outside here, seeing it. Now watch him make Roby miss, Stewart miss, and now it's just speed as all the Broncos are just looking at his taillights.
Big play here in terms of controlling the clock. If the Jets convert it, 3rd and 1. They will not. Domata Pecco, but the extra effort.
Pecco's number 94 and all that hair, he drills him right there, but how about Crowell?
6-man crew for the remainder.
All right, Evan, thanks very much. Remember, Roby starting for the first time in his career. Crowell! Does he have another in him? The stutter step move by Crowell. Crowell brought down inside the 35 with a flag thrown. Darnold steps up. Open man is Crowell. Crowell still going as he had the fake. And Crowell offset. No reason to throw it, especially when you have Isaiah Crowell. The cut by Crowell. He is punishing this.
That's the carry. And a good hold. Boy, is he tough and elusive. Great run by Carson. Across the 30 to the 31. He picked up 18 on the play.
Go out and figure out this play. It's just a read option play. Just hands it off, blocked down by the tackle / tight end that's in there, and then just great running. So shifty.
Stafford floats it up to air, and the reception made by Galladay. Down the sideline, a stiff arm, caught from behind at the 5.
It's only getting better, Tom. They're going to run a little takeoff with him. Jackson's actually in pretty good position, but when you have that height advantage and you have this get off my lawn moment, when he stiff arms, Clint Dix, he's such a threat when he catches the ball.
Comeback. And is it a touchdown? It is for Marvin Jones Jr.
wide open. Wide open. And Smith, what a way to do it.
Here's Beckham looking to throw. Wide open. It's Barkley. Inside the 20. Still going. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Well, Beckham wanted the Giants to go downfield a little bit more. How about that? 57 yards.
Dazzle again.
Fake toss. Watson throws, caught, and this is Hopkins into Dallas territory on his feet. Look at that, a whirling dervish to the 27-yard line.
Unbelievable.
In field goal range, that's a 49-yard catch and run.
First of all, Gregory almost gets to Watson, but watch this. This is a contested catch. Now how many? 1, 2, 3. That is unbelievable. Larry Fitzgerald, like in the clutch when it matters most, making brilliant catches and an even better run.
Andy Dalton and A.J. Green in practice for the 2 seasons he was here as an assistant. Huber to Grant. He'll dance and drive and break tackles. It's a foot race with Huber. Here he comes, Grant racing inside the 5. 70-yard return. Well, look at the speed right there. The great effort right at the end by Sean Williams. Fake it to Lynch. Carr throws, intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Melvin Ingram.
Out there playing the cha-cha slide on offense because it's a reverse. But look at Cam Newton. Oh, my Lord. He just deleted the defensive end as DJ Moore would run for a huge first down. But look at the replay. Cam Newton just took that man to the tattoo parlor. You get tattooed for free. Don't worry about the payment. It's on me.
Rivers almost lost control. Instead recovers, gives it to Eckler, and Eckler's on the move. 20, 10, touchdown.
Downfield. Look at the spin right in the hole against Luke Kuechly, one of the better tacklers in the league. And then he gets downfield with the acceleration, and they can't wrap him up initially. Look at him run through people. There's Adam Smith.
From the 33 on first down, time for Ben. He goes underneath, and there is James Conner, who slips across midfield. Straight up the middle of that Atlanta defense and inside the Falcon 40. Heard about spacing as Conner gets a chance. It slips through the Atlanta defense. James Conner all the way inside the 10-yard line. What a run.
Falcons defense 2 weeks ago, it was tackling against the Saints. They shored that up last week. It looks like it's back in play again this afternoon.
We got him. Blue 80. What's up? Conner into a crowd fight, gets to the goal line, and touchdown Steelers. Your tight end, the pitch to Conner. He's got room to run. He's spinning for a first down. He's up across the 40 in Pittsburgh. In Ohio. 3rd and 13. A screen to Conner. Oh, look at him move through that for a first down all the way. It's still going before he went out of bounds. Inside the 30 of Atlanta. On 3rd and 8. For the end zone. Open. Catch made. Juge. Roethlisberger, end zone, touchdown Steelers, Antonio Brown. Ben and Brown connect. Ridley has come in, Conner a breather. Roethlisberger to throw, and airing it out deep. Antonio Brown has got the Steelers touchdown.
2nd and 12 off the fake to Barkley. Manning fires downfield. How about that catch by Odell Beckham for a Giants first down?
And sometimes when you're trying to break out, conditions might not be perfect. And that was not a perfect pass from Eli Manning. But Odell Beckham Jr. does what he does better than anyone in the league right now, is catch the football with one hand and bring it to his body.
2nd and 12 off of.
And Manning fires, looking for Beckham in the end zone. There is a flag, and Beckham makes the catch for Giants touchdown.
3rd and 17 for Tannehill. Again, they need the 35. Look out, they got around James, and now he's running knocked away from behind. It's picked up. This is Hubbard for 6. Holy, 6 unanswered.
Well, there's the left tackle, and you're just going to see Carlos Dunlap. He's going to beat him around the edge. Tannehill's trying to step up and help him, but he just is able to get that right hand in there right at the end and deflect the ball, and it somehow falls right through.
Snap is back, ball is down, the kick is blocked, they got it! Denzel Ward blocked the field goal try, and that's the end of the first half. Can Denzel Ward do anything else?
Watching the left side of the right side of your screen, Adam shows like he's going to play down towards the box, drops back into coverage, and gets right into the passing lane where the slants have been so effective. That's an excellent veteran play by the guy.
Here's Darnold, airing it out, deep ball, separation, caught, Robbie Anderson, goodbye, touchdown, Jets. Probably.
You gonna show it? I hope not.
We have slides. Darnold throwing, deep ball, he's got Anderson.
Just got off the read and tried to get back there to it. He should have got there right away because it was open. And then Hardy fell into coverage because he came to it. I do not know why he waited to get through that read and get back out there. Good adjustment by Hardy. They're trying to get him on the perimeter to get him.
He's able to make the tackle. Brady now over 300 yards for the game, 83rd time in his career. Looking for all of it. Unloads to the end zone. Caught by Gordon. Touchdown, Patriots. Different players for touchdowns in his career. That is an all-time NFL record.
And that's all-time pass coverage, too. And initially, he's trying to wave Chris.
Off the fake to McCaffrey. On the slant, it is Curtis Samuel. Inside the 10, the 5. Still on his feet. He dives across. Touchdown.
White, Taylor, Prescott stumbles, stays afloat, looks downfield, fires deep downfield, and it will be caught by Austin. Nearly gets sacked twice to the 31-yard line, and it's Watt who put the pressure on, and Prescott stays alive.
Arguably the greatest pass rusher in our time, J.J. Watt. He gets away from him, puts a hand down, under pressure, escapes again, takes it and throws it as far as he can down.
White from the left hash. Ball is placed down. Gano from 63 yards out. It is good. From the left hand.
his head, completes for Woods. Hops over one man and keeps going. Down to the Seahawks, 44-yard line.
And then you got Robert Woods. Watch this route. Stick it, fall out, cornerback slips, kill Griffin, off to the races.
Rams start from the 26, they hand off to Robert Woods. Turns the corner, big room. Hops over one man, down the sideline. Inside the 20 and down to the 15-yard line.
He's going to say, let's go after that completion.
Gain of 20 on the last play. Play fake. Goff throws wide open. Woods gets up, breaks.
Really easy here. This ball is low and kind of, I mean, that's tough to go down and get that thing as it's tailing towards the ground, but a clear catch is get back up and make some yardage, and now they huddle back up. So yes, we were exactly as we thought. They put 2 plays in.
Off the play fake, Wilson rolls away and puts it up deep. He's got a man that's locking. He's got it inside the 35.
Ball stripped away, and it's picked up by the Cardinals. Josh Bynes, and Bynes is going to run it in. Touchdown, Cardinals.
Hassan Reddick going to come in on the blitz right here. Look at him. Defeats Morris, strips the ball away. And this defense said, hey, if our offense can't produce...
We approach 5 minutes to play here in the fourth. Darnold swings it downfield. Juggle and a grab. Touchdown.